Kia ora everybody, and welcome back to Humankind Game. Today I'm going to show you 3 of the most powerful cultures in the game. There will be time cards below, rip watch time, and if you like this kind of content, please do consider liking and subscribing on this video in particular. First up, I have not the Egyptians, although they're an incredibly powerful pick, but in the ancient era, I suggest you take the Mycenaeans. The Mycenaeans' Cyclopean fortress is probably one of the best garrisons in the game, especially because, of course, you unlock it at the very start. Like a garrison, and unlike most unique districts, it doesn't need to be chained next to a capital or a city centre. You can instead, as you can see, place it literally wherever you like. The beauty of it as well, and you've probably already noticed by the footage on screen, is the fact that it harvests industry. More on that in a minute. You should also note their unique unit is unlocked right at the start with city defense, and it's a basic upgrade to the warrior. It's an absolute unit with the champion upgrade as well. Back to the Cyclopean fortress, you'll note just like a normal garrison, it functions as a stability district, providing, in this case, plus 15 stability over the basic 5 or 10 a garrison could provide. Moreover, it acts as a unit spawn and, crucially, it extracts industry around it. Take a look at it in comparison to a normal garrison. You'll see both of them act as unit spawns, but the Cyclopean fortress is harvesting its industry, 5, and the industry of the tiles around it, those 2s nearby, whereas the default garrison isn't even harvesting its own 1. The Cyclopean fortress is an absolute powerhouse of a district in Humankind, and the beauty of it is it's bundled in with a militarist culture. As it focuses on industry, you might want to do what I've done here and also pick up harbours fairly quickly to get some food from the sea. That also might come in handy later. Here you can see me placing another Cyclopean fortress surrounded by mountains and wooded tiles, the best tiles to produce industry. Although it's important to note that I don't have any other abilities active. I don't have, for example, a religion yet established, which could provide more industry from forests, an additional 2 per tile. The Promontory, as I say, is a very cheap and easy unit to use. It's a basic upgrade on the warrior, providing you with a lot of actually additional combat strength that will set you apart from nearby neighbours, and this is even more important considering recent updates have made the AI much more aggressive. You might also want to use the militarist ability, Iron Reserves. This essentially takes 4 population from your city, and converts them into your iron reserves. I often call them my citizens or my peasants. What's important to note here is that it literally just plucks 4 units out instantly at no cost and creates a regiment out of them. Here you can see it on screen. You could indeed use them to explore the land, separate them apart into groups of 2 or 1, and span them out on auto-explore if you're a bit behind. You could also choose, of course, to combine them with your normal armies. In fact, you'll notice here in this footage that they're actually more powerful than the scouts that I had from the previous era. The other thing you could do, of course, is redistribute populations around. Simply move your levies to another city within its bounds and disband them, and you'll see here that the 2 population have been added into this city. So it's not just an aggressive ability, the militarist culture. You can also use it to build, redistribute, or explore the land. The opportunities are endless with the very powerful Mycenaeans. Next up, we're moving 2 eras ahead to the medieval era and popping into Swahili. Coastal haven is an understatement for these bad boys. And here, you're seeing me make the most of them even on a Pangaea map with but 1 continent. Take a look at their fantastic unique harbour. It does replace the default harbour, but as you move through next eras, you can rebuild the default one alongside this one. It's totally fine. You'll see it provides a whopping amount of both food and gold. In this case, it's more focused on the gold than food. It scales the more resources you have access to, so you'll get even more money, and with city improvements like the basic fishmonger here, you can see you can improve the harbours even more by adding additional money and food. The beauty of the Bandari, as well as providing that plus 3 money per unique type of resource, that's every luxury or strategic you have on offer, they'll also be able to be built just like this in a lake. Don't build your naval units on it. But the important thing to note here is that this is an outpost. I've just established an outpost, and for a very low cost, made it an incredibly profitable one. 20 money already. Thank you very much, Swahili. The added stability bonuses that the harbours provide, and of course when you combine this with the fact that as playing as the Swahili, you'll be able to embark and disembark freely, you're away laughing. Then, a religion. Respect the seas for +2 food on your coastal tiles and those precious lakes as well. And as you move through to the second tier, of course, observe feasts could be of interest to you, providing +5 food additionally onto our harbours. This is pretty easy to pull off. You may not always be able to get the religion, but you'll definitely be able to get the city infrastructures. One thing I love to do is the Swahili like this. Check that harbour out. Woof! Whew! Is to establish outposts and go out and spam down, my default harbours and my Swahili harbours at the same time, producing influence, positive stability, gold, and money that scales the more resources you connect through trade, which is another really important part of the Swahili strategy, as well as, of course, improving your infrastructure. Take a look here at the Great Fish Market. Your trade is getting an additional +5 money per route, and your harbours +4. Also turn to your civics tree to buff your trade as well. A fairly cheap and easy one here, knowledge authorities +1 science per trade routes that you're hopefully carrying out across the sea. Finally, in Humankind's final era, fittingly, it's a difficult one. I'm going with the Australians as my third pick here for the best cultures that may not always be immediately obvious. The Soviets are a very honourable mention. And I also look here at the Chinese. Keep this in the back of your mind as I move through my discussion about the Australians, because it's important to note that the ability to get both industry and money in the contemporary era is somewhat limited. The Australians are really your only viable industrial productive option. And the Chinese are, for the most part, your only viable merchant gold producing option. And they are generally considered to be not the best. The reason why I focus on industry and money, and take a look at these whomping Australian districts, by the way, the only industrial district in the game to benefit from being near strategic resources. Usually, as you'll probably know, it's scientific quarters that benefit from being near oil or copper. In this case, not so much. Watch here as I plan this outpost and city very carefully to try and connect this oil, a new strategic resource, to my unique district. The point here is that there's usually always space to connect these. You may not get perfect ones on every city, but when you do get good ones, my goodness, they are good. Back to my initial point, and the reason why I'm including the Australians here is also a slightly wider meta play. Money and industry are the two key ways to push things out in the final era, okay? You're not going to be creating things with science, although of course you'll unlock new technologies that will help you. The science itself doesn't push your cities out. It doesn't create nuclear weapons. It doesn't instantly provide you with an army to defend yourself when the AI inevitably turns against you when you're in the lead. Industry and money, though, can provide fast action. The Australians are the best industrial focus. Don't forget your builder ability here to convert all of your gold and all of your science that you may not need if you've finished the tech tree as well into industry. Furthermore, doubling down on these incredible strip mining districts that provide an additional 50 industry per adjacent strategic resource. The broader point still stands, though. In my opinion, the Australians are the best way to provide immediate, or at least fast value in the ancient era, not just through their powerful districts, or, it's worth noting, their incredible unique unit. It's actually a bit of a powerhouse. If you haven't tried it, you should. It is somewhat similar to the Chinese, but more aggressive, less bombard-focused. Don't forget also to hoover up other people's strategic resources like copper and iron. They will provide default bonuses to the industry in your city. You can see me doing that here, still in the later points of the game. There's much to learn and many more trade routes to connect. Overall, I think that the Australians will provide you with a unique ability to twist and turn your gameplay in the very final stages of the game. Researched all the technologies? No trouble. Your only difficulty might be pollution. This is where something like propaganda may come in very handy. You can stop empire-wide revolutions by enacting the civic. I'd really recommend you do that if you're pushing the pollution limits. Thank you very much for watching today's video covering some of the best cultures in humankind. As I said at the start, if you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate your support on this one in particular, and I will see you next time. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.